cringe and stupid. What do you mean, library?
Ah, yes. Go to the library and hack the public terminals.
Yeah, that is definitely what I was meaning. Not reading a book. That couldn't be what I would be referring to.
Sure, you can read their library.
Beat me up.
I mean, it's not. Most of it still isn't like paper books. It's still digitized stuff, but you can do that. Yeah.
Sure.
Actually, if you implicated me and other people came to beat me up, I would actually just start killing people. I would be found in the middle of the street covered with people's blood. With spare parts in my back pocket.
They started it.
Trying to beat my ass twice in the same day. You fucked up now.
Oh, it is
I mean, the
secure.
officers that are assigned to you guys effectively like step in at a point and basically tell them to frick off. They got things to do.
Places to be.
So, I'm guessing you're going to use investigate if you're going and researching.
Probably, yeah.
Seeing as that's what it actually has, is like the first thing.
Research a subject or study something in great. Yeah, this would
So
be correct.
what exactly are you researching? Like just stories in general, or
Actually, I was thinking more Hercynian history. If they have anything that documented on
they
that.
definitely have that.
Yeah.
So, yep, go ahead and give me that roll. We'll see how it goes.
Ah, yes, for sure. Yup, hey,
You
yup.
guys are not having a good day for information gathering.
Hercynians are people and not bugs.
So,
I would do better than someone.
do you get in trouble right away but get what you're looking for, or do you freaking bounce immediately before you get what you need?
I'm gonna piece this scene.
Alright. Yep.
I'd be curious, how do I get in trouble for reading?
Because the library goes, is that the fucking mech pilot? And you just turn and walk out.
It turns out you went to the wrong library.
Oh shit, this library's in the fucking hood.
The officer that's assigned to you is like looking over your shoulder at one point, and he's just like, "Are you looking up what I think you're looking up?" You're like, "No, I'm being a good boy."
Sorry for wanting to learn about your people, officer. My bad. Won't happen again.
You're damn right.
Lore.
Oh, mine's simple. I'm gonna patch up pain.
Well, these are all happening at the same time, so.
Well, yeah, I know it's a joke, but
Into the back alley and patched me up.
Oh, boss! Wow, I'm sorry. I was behind this dumpster here. Don't worry, I saw everything happen.
Being called, I'll be right back.
Don't want to record everything. They'll get in trouble later.
It turns out I actually had it on like the wrong air, or basically it was just like looking at myself, just seeing the
You're
reactions.
just recording yourself, going, "Oh god, that looks bad." Oh no!
I'm not the people's elbow.
Oh, he's coming with the rock bottom. Fuck.
But I'll do what I always do. Go to a bar.
They definitely have those.
And basically just use what is it?
Try and get
It's
laid
a-
again.
Ah, ooh, look. Mafia.
So, are you trying to like learn something, or are you just going to get a drink?
Well, word on the street.
Okay, so go ahead. Roll word on the street.
Yeah.
Trying to carouse with the locals.
Mm-hmm.
Frickin' hell.
Yep, knew it.
What the hell?
Me getting
Why?
beat up was the best result. How the fuck?
Isn't it a surprise? No, it isn't. So let's just get on with it.
I mean, it is kind of a
I
surprise.
mean, on a
the fact
minor list, you decide whether or not you had a good time or not.
It's not a surprise. I'm not taking this. Let's get on with it. I roll terribly in this game.
that- Yes.
I mean, you try and learn stuff.
I try,
Listen in.
yes. What else?
Which of these three do you want to keep? Your dignity, all of your possessions, or your memory? You lose the other two.
What?
You get to keep your dignity, all of your possessions, or your memory. You lose the other two.
Keep your possessions at least, and you can wake up with a blue shot and drunk again.
Yeah, fuck my possessions. Fuck that.
All right.
That's my
Yep.
stuff, not theirs.
Yep. You wake up in one of the alleys after indulging a little too hard. A little bit of vomit on your shirt, a little roughed up, either because of your own actions of moving to this
I should
alleyway.
start saying I take no downtime. I do nothing.
Yeah,
I
there
just-
is a thing that it's called get focused. Oh, or power at a cost. You don't have to roll for that either. But
I swear to God, it's every fucking time.
just have
I don't
a
see
very,
why I even
very good
try.
setup. Yeah. So, over the course of
Literally,
the few days where you guys are doing that stuff, with basically no connection to Evergreen at all, and an OmniNet connection that will, like, once in a while you'll get a bar if you're, like, walking in the right area of the city, and then all of a sudden it'll just blink off again. But most of the time it's just offline. You guys have no contact with Dithal. She does not come and get you guys or tell you what's going on. You're just kind of left to your own devices for the most part. Besides, of course, the Rangers' constant vigil following you around. But after those few days, you are summoned to have an audience with the commander.
I attend.
Yes.
Ilri Ordo. I'm guessing. I don't freaking know. All the goddamn names for the Hersonians are bizarre. This is how his first name's pronounced. Yeah, see? Lower Kentucky, safe one. Yeah. Ilyir? I don't know.
I guess it'd be Illier.
Yeah. He's Commander Ordo. I could do that too.
That works.
Yeah. So, you guys are led towards one of the kind of military buildings at the edge of the city. Let me see if I can't get you like an actual area.
Well, I'm pretty sure like the last 3 fucking times I rolled for one of these downtimes, I got nothing out of it.
The first time, I think we had 3 downtimes, right?
Yeah, you guys have.
So
The first
time
one,
it
second one,
was,
and this one.
yeah, the first time it was a trade. You got something and you lost something. The second time you rolled the nat 1,
Yeah.
and you just got fucked over in your attempts to romance someone. And then this time you also failed.
Yeah, I fucked
Right,
up my
you pissed someone off.
and then you said, I'm gonna ruin it all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Theo
I
rolled a
believe-
success. He just chose not to take it.
Yeah.
And then remember also, whenever I fucking roll for my special weapon, oh, look, you get 3 uses.
Yeah, but you hit with all freaking 3 uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fight's over after the 3rd use.
I only have 4 uses, but I hit with every goddamn time I fire it for like
Only
max
get 3
damage.
uses. You then proceed to half health everything you shoot at.
Yep.
I'm so sorry for you.
Yep.
I'm a
So,
medic.
you guys
Yeah!
are...
Just to fucking heal.
You're whiny is what you are, you fuck.
You guys are led into the kind of an area of the military district with slightly nicer buildings. To give you guys actually a slight description of what the buildings in HIVEHOME look like. They are these kind of large dome-like structures. You guys have one similar. It feels big, like too big. Like these places were built for giants. And humans are not really made for it. The pathways are these big, long, steep inclines with stairs on either side and little pathways at points so that you can walk across the street. The nicer homes have these, like, what are they called? They are worm silk tapestries. Yeah. And they're like kind of rugs and whatnot that they hang so that the houses don't feel quite as big. Yeah. The most common is made of a supple, smooth, finished stone. Yay. The city itself is like... I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. They probably do give me one, but I don't have to actually think of it. It's tall for being underground.
Big,
Yeah.
huge.
Do they not? I feel like I did read what the city is described as. Yeah, HIVEHOME is one of the bigger island cities. There's a bunch of little satellite towns around it, connected by like wide stone bridges and raised roads. Where the hell is it? I know there's a description of what the freaking city looks like.
I think you were reading it at some point.
I was reading what the most common ones look like, but not the like look of the city. I don't know. I'll find it. And you guys will get the description. But you guys are led out to one of these kind of large military structures, kind of set up in a similar way to. I'm trying to think of what a good. It's not how the the U.S. Congress looks like. It's like a big open room with seats, kind of ringing the upper area. But that is not. It's not all. But as you guys are kind of walking into this building, you finally see, and you guys do see more of them as you kind of explore the city. There's thousands of them. But you see one of the Igorgorians.
Oh.
It's just kind of standing in one of the entrance hall to this area. And as it sees you, it's interested.
I don't have to. I just don't know if I have the strength to do it.
You've probably heard of my...
Yeah, it walks
I'm
over
not
to you
gonna
guys
answer.
and, well, it doesn't bow, but it does start to speak. And as it speaks, you seem to all find yourselves remembering. It's not quite the right word, but it's kind of like learning. Trying to find something that like is deep within you, but that you held, but isn't yours anymore.
Is this the link Think that Thal was talking about?
Yeah, it seems like it. As it does speak common, but it's odd.
Why not even?
And it immediately starts in basically the most blunt way anything could basically start. You are to tell me of your city above. There are its walls, its guns, the things our enemies may try and steal and turn against us. And my scouts, my eyes, will view them and return. This is atoning through service, a tribute mission. Do this, and you will have my joy, approval, favor. It's not quite, the Mass Effect creatures that will say how they're about to say something.
Morose.
Yeah, it's
How
not that. It's almost like the opposite of that. The atoning through service, a tribute mission, the joy, approval, favor is more the unsaid feeling of what it's saying. You kind of hear the words, but at the same time, it's like kind of trying to get across something that isn't what it's saying.
Hmm.
It's odd, to say the least.
So you want us to tell you the defenses of Evergreen? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that correct?
That does seem to be correct, yes.
And in return, you will approve of us?
Yes. More than approval. And you kind of get that sense of it will also feel joy and owe you at least some of its favor.
And are you going to be using this knowledge to attack Evergreen, or are you just trying to figure out what could be acquired by the machines should they take it?
We need to know what we will face should the machine be able to entangle itself into Evergreen's walls, guns, homes.
What is there something to roll to try and figure out whether or not this seems like what they like the actual goal of this?
There really isn't. You're going to have to just take this on faith or assume that it's lying, because this thing is not. It doesn't.
It's
like trying to talk to a freaking cascading NHP.
Yeah.
It's not something that your mind is going to be easily able to interpret as lies or truth.
Especially not on the first fucking conversation, huh?
Yeah, no. Not while you're still trying to learn of this thing's remember learning. I mean, you can just turn it down and move on. You are being called in to talk to the commander, not to this thing.
I will ask who it is. And, like, I'm assuming we're being escorted, right?
Yeah. Your escorts seem to be giving it a level of respect. More so than they do to other Egregorians. This one apparently is important in some fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I am Terror. At least that is what my empath partner calls me.
Terror.
I am Commander.
We have another meeting to go to. Would you be willing to talk after that, maybe?
It seems to kind of consider for a moment not speaking before it says, in kind of that same way, I would be delighted to talk, get your information. It would be, you kind of get this sense of kind of a completion of sorts.
Good. Let's go talk to that that guy who we're here to talk to.
Yeah. Senior Ordo seems to be waiting.
Yeah.
Senior Ordo.
Senor. Senor.
Yep. So, as you guys step into the chamber, it's already ongoing. As you guys seem to be stepping into a conversation in progress. As you hear one of the men, one of the men sitting in the table, in the chairs, or standing in his case, or standing, kind of leaning forward, I suppose, in front of the table for their. I don't know what the heck you'd call it. What would you call a table with a map and the little icons for command for forces, or does it not have a special name?
I think it's
tactical table,
like a war table.
Yeah, a war table. So yeah, you have. You have Dethal. You have this other guy who's the person that's going to start speaking. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what the room looks like. You have the man that's standing near Dethal, who is kind of an older man, along with of course, the other trio of kind of obviously lesser commanders who are just kind of letting the two have it out, along with a host of scribes and other soldiers who are standing guard or making sure things are all set up. But to start this conversation, you guys walk in on. I've said my piece, the man says. He settles back into his chair, flicks a hand, and one of the attaches hurries forward to the large stone table. Scattered tokens, some red, some green, a few blue and white, represent the committed forces of the United Cities. The attaché scoops up the remaining green tokens and hurries back to the chamber wall. She stands with the rest of the attachés. Seeing no need to keep them deployed, Daylight's rangers will draw down. He nods. It is done. The older man leans over onto the table. Comrade, I urge you, one last time, for the safety of the United Cities, for the safety of Daylight, Comrade, as you now know his name, speaking back to him, I will order my rangers to pull back to our territory. The machine, and he kind of points to a series of black markers clustered on the table, has directed its attention to the colony. Moran barks. The machine has been sighted within Igor Cross for a month. Not even. They're dead. My rangers have bled for your hive, my dear Ordo, and have died far from home. He just kind of wipes his hands together, dismissing the question. They have earned their time off the line. One of the other commanders who's kind of steps forward. All of our rangers bled for HIVEHOME. Another attaché kind of steps forward and grabs the few blue tokens off of the map. And I shall also call them home. My families miss them dearly. I'm sure you understand that feeling, Ilvir. No, it's actually she. Oops. Very deep voice, she. Who you guys do now spot standing kind of near her father, currently acting as one of the attachés. She just kind of shifts at the look, sets her jaw and stares into the middle distance hard. The small muscles under her close-cropped hair flex, obviously betraying her annoyance and anger. Commanders, I understand your eagerness to return home. Commander Ordo says, I'm not going to freaking try and keep pronouncing this guy's name. No,
It's Ordo. It's your boy.
Yeah. He straightens. But a month of the machine in remission does not mean it has given up on its attack. It's persisted for years. A sudden end to the fight on one front does not mean the war is done. Illir. Cormoran speaks above the others who are kind of starting to speak up in response, just kind of waving them down. They're not fools. They're not children to this war. They're not cowards. He just snaps his fingers. And the attaché steps forward again. And he just picks the one of the green tokens out of it and tosses it onto the table. The small clay disc shatters as the other people in the room fall silent. Far, far too many of our rangers have died. If appeals to our humanity fail, Illir, then hear me on this. He grabs the handful of tokens and just flings them down onto the table, all of them smashing in the same way the single one did. We do not have the numbers to hold Igor Cross. We do not have the bullets to hold Igor Cross. And we do not have the will to hold Igor Cross. Our warriors are as broken as those scraps. What's more, if you hadn't ordered our forces to raid the colony above, my sons wouldn't have died by their hands. And he points at you guys, stabbing a finger in your direction. No one speaks. Illir, Commander Ordo. Just kind of stands. His jaw rigid. Sweat kind of beads down his forehead. And then the guy continues. Water break, go down. Go down. I'm going to say it's God owned.
Oh, I was muted.
And Daylight have decided to draw down from Igor Cross. And we are informing you so that you are not caught by surprise when you find that you have no allies left. This is not the time for passions to. It is done. And he slaps both hands down on the table. At this point, no one speaks. He lingers for a moment, staring daggers at Commander Orund. As the other three, plus of course their attaches and a scattering of Egregorians that you guys didn't spot immediately, but just kind of come out of the shadows, stand and file out of the chamber past you guys. The Egregorian that attempted to chat with you guys before, just kind of, you hear him ruffle his feathers, or his feathery antennae. It seems to be directed towards the other Egregorians, but whether or not it's a hostile gesture or like have a good day, you're not sure. Finally,
Kill them now.
Corbrand says to Illyr, I wish you luck and health. His attaché whispers in his ears, and he nods. I'll have my final report on your desk by the evening. And then he stands to his full height, just kind of brushes himself off the clay dust. Daylight remains friends with Hivehome. And as he kind of turns to leave, even if her subjects might not. And finally, kind of the rest of the people, besides, of course, you guys, Terror, and the two Ordo, empty out of the chamber. And it is just kind of, well, it's silent except for the low echoing murmur from the few people that are still in, muttering about what just happened.
Boss,
I feel
it's clear I'm a
bound.
medic, right?
Yes. I feel bound to mention the fact that we have only acted in self-defense and have given options to surrender.
I'm a medic.
He just kind of sighs and turns to you guys fully. I'm sure. Well, I believe you know who I am. He just kind of nods at Dathar. But other than who you are some way, I don't think we've been introduced. You are...
Mina Cole, Hive Mother.
Mm-hmm.
I will motion to introduce themselves.
Hive mother, not from Hive Home.
Yeah, weird.
This is Baloo.
Blue Moonshine.
I'm not allowing Baloo to introduce themselves.
Blue Moonshine Reindeer.
He nods.
Pulling teeth with you people.
He just kind of waves for you guys to take seats or stand, whichever you feel like
I'll
doing.
stand and start over the war table.
Yep.
Observing how fucked the situation is.
There's only there are certainly a lot more of those not the green, a lot more as the red dots, but there's a lot more of the black ones. So, have you already been briefed on the situation, or do I need to fill you in on how fucked everything is?
Well, we've heard a bit here and there, and given what we just heard coming in, it sounds like we're not going to be entering into the most stable of alliances.
Yeah, you could say that. The diplomatic situation here is not exactly in the most stable of positions. Well, I'm assuming you're coming as representatives of your, whatever the settlement is called. Evergreen? Yes.
More or less. We've got about as close to diplomatic power there as anyone at this point.
Yeah, I was about to say, have we been given like basically
No.
ambassador status? Yeah, I don't.
No, but we have taken it. More
Yeah.
specifically, I at least have taken it.
We saw the ball and we decided to run.
Yeah, actually.
I mean, you guys are coming from Union. You were ordered to fix the problem. You're about as close to like set ambassadors as you can get.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
Because
only.
I hate to tell you, Patience isn't going to go tell you to do it because
Yeah.
you weren't technically under his command to do so.
we're basically the
Oh.
Fed.
You're as close to ambassadors as you're going to get. Well, you saw that mess,
Indeed.
and I have a point. The machine has pulled back, but I have a feeling that only means a wave is gathering, not that it's abating. He just kind of points at the map. We've been holding that point. I'm sure you've heard its name at this point. Igor Cross, for months now. For years, but for months now it's been quiet. It is the linchpin of our defense, a critical terminal for holding them from HIVEHOME. Now, not undefended, my forces will remain there. I'm not going to just give up when we have lost the rest of our support. But I fear that my rangers will not be enough to hold the line. In case, of course, the machine decides to push against us. So he gives you kind of a general setup of kind of what's going on. I'm not going to do it all in his voice because it's going to take a minute.
It's basically, hey, they have a paper cup and they're trying to deal with a flood.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
So the United Hercynian Cities is kind of their group. They're a union of consenting city-states, meaning they basically are only together because they say they're together. That's it. They were... Well, they joined up shortly after this war started. It's been a defensive war that's been raging for about the past decade and has been crawling every year, every month, closer to HIVEHOME friggin' since it started, basically. And the coalition forces did hold at Igor and Cross. They're, of course, administered by a joint command, and the joint command is currently him, Commander Ordo. But
that seems to be falling apart, given that everyone else is effectively going, fuck this, I'm going home.
yep, pretty much. So, of course, because HIVEHOME is kind of the major target, it's throwing most of its forces into the fight, but the other four hives are basically pledged to contribute a certain percentage of their population to fight off the invasion.
Oh, so sacrifice.
I mean, that's what you want to call it.
But, do we know why the machine is targeting this area?
They aren't sure. But
Any ideas?
yeah, he's not sure. They haven't really been able to like talk to the machine because, you know, they're insane.
I mean, we had a short conversation. They were great conversationalist, if I'm honest.
Well, the
Their
question
guess
is,
is that they want to annihilate HIVEHOME, but that's based on how the attacks have been coming, so they're not sure. The cross itself has been held by Rangers for years now. However, in the last few months, things have calmed down, and there is no sightings of any of a machine that it calls Bigger One, which threatening the choke point. And there is an ongoing combat on the surface, but it's kind of similar to the fight for Evergreen. Hit and run attacks against a significantly more powerful force. And of course, the hive states that have been fighting this have been fighting this since the beginning. So they're starting to chafe against war fatigue effectively. The Rangers have not been home in decades, in years at least. It's a long time to be out fighting.
will inform him about the fight we had against the drones, the subalterns, and the ensuing conversation. See if he has any specific insight into that.
And just so we're
I mean, he's not
clear-
surprised.
Yeah.
It sounds right for
uh,
what this creature is.
just so we're clear between all of us, it was pretty much like a defensive thing, right? Like we first try to interact with it, and then it's like, oh, people kill.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It certainly didn't like the people inside.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't like us trying to get them outside.
Well, it didn't like the people inside, but didn't like try to kill them when the subalterns seemed a little bit combat, you know.
I mean, they hadn't gone inside yet.
Yeah. Also, I think that, like,
That wasn't, from what you guys tell him, it didn't sound like a full machine, something like Bigger One. It sounded like it was a more glitching one, not quite full crazy yet.
it was on the way out, but it hadn't quite yet bought the farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it still was following at least some of its program. It just wasn't doing it as it should have been doing it. It was protecting the people from everything, including, of course, you when you showed up to.
It's like when an immune system
them out.
decides to start killing its own body because it's freaking out.
Yep. So, HIVEHOME, he tells you, is the largest of these hive states, as, of course, Bethal has already told you.
Mhm.
Daylight rivals HIVEHOME, but it is very far from the main source of fighting, and they've already taken significant losses, both from fighting underground and above ground as well. And in the last short while, Daylight's public and Senate has basically rebelled and decided they want their Rangers back home.
Mhm.
It's time to leave. And of
Run
course,
our boys
having a freaking equally large force pull out is a potentially deadly strategic error
Yeah.
because of
I will-
Evergreen or Evergreen falls.
Are all these cities underground?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do they
Yep.
have any relation with the cities we saw on the surface?
They might. He's not sure exactly what you mean because there are other cities that he's seen, or at least that he knows about. The other three hives,
We had
but
those
they're
cities
across the
before.
sea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he thinks that might be who you saw, but he's not sure without the pictures. And of course, even with the pictures, it might be a different group, as they haven't been able to communicate with that group in a decade. So he's not even sure if those cities even exist anymore.
Okay, so when did this conflict start? And
About a decade ago.
okay, And we're
By the way, Daylight is very, very close to Evergreen. He doesn't state it outright, but like just looking at the map, you guys can see that.
On the map, does it like show where? Oh yeah, well it does. Yeah, show where Evergreen is at this point.
Yep, it does.
It is.
Yeah, they have Evergreen marked.
I will inform him that we are willing to help. However, the readiness of Evergreen to join a protracted war may not be particularly high.
He does kind of nod at that. I wouldn't be surprised. It is a small settlement from what I've seen. However, we have a plan. But let me give you guys just kind of the remainder of the info.
we sent you guys in.
The
lantern.
Daylight,
That's the plan.
or at least Cormorant, considers that the front has shifted from HIVEHOME to Daylight, and so they want to move and defend towards their settlement rather than HIVEHOME. Both of these settlements are both populated and prosperous. They are trade partners and Cold War rivals, and they've been basically bickering over the course of their existence through the other three hive states, Waterbrink, Godone and Michael Fields. Waterbreak and Godone are independent but close to daylight, and so they often ally with them. Michael Fields is closer to HIVEHOME and often allies with HIVEHOME when it comes to trade disputes, basically. Same, of course, with the other two. Yep. So, he thinks... well, basically, there are two main tasks that one of them is going to be freaking hard and the other one's going to be easy. Beyond, of course, the other thing he has, his plan. But they need to convince Daylight to help out. It'll be freaking hard, but it's not impossible. And with you guys backing him up, it might be more possible. As if they're able to, they're allied, then you might be able to get a better sense of what the machine is doing as they are closer to it. Of course, the easier task, well, Waterbreak and Godone are close to Daylight, so most likely they're going to ally. If you convince Daylight, they'll probably follow with it. Michael Fields is already tied to HIVEHOME, so most likely they'll be the easiest to pull back to their side because they're already on good terms. The plan is they have discovered that Beggar One, well, the swarm, as he calls it, of machines has a head. As he called it already, Beggar One is that head. Mm-hmm. So they think if they can have a strike force go in and hack the head, the swarm will hopefully break into chaos and then they'll be able to defeat it without as many issues and therefore solve all the issues at once. But of course, without more allies, their forces and you guys are not going to be enough. Or at least it's going to be frickin' hard. It might be enough, but you guys will be charging through basically the swarm to get to its head. And that's no guarantee you'll make it.
It's fine. That's what the Calvin was basically meant for.
Okay, so we send the Calvin by itself.
Yes.
And that is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, boys, give me all of your license levels.
With our power combined.
License levels are non-transferable between pilots.
They are now, baby.
The Caliban.
Right arm of Lancaster.
I just
Body
give you.
Caliban.
I do my super secret thing I can do with the drones, and just power you up.
Yeah. All right. So that means our first task.
Do you guys want to play out the diplomacy, or do you guys just want to roll for it? Because they do give hey, if you don't feel like doing a diplomacy, then you can do a talk. You can do a roll instead.
Not against playing it out.
And then if we fail, we roll.
No.
Let's see, how many diplomacies do we have to go through? Like 3?
You got to convince Daylight and you got to convince Michael Fields is the main two.
Daylight, Michael Fields. And one of those seems like it'll be easy, and one seems like it will not be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Now look, I might not be some bug-loving freak, but...
I do have to inspire,
but more importantly, at least for you guys, you see that big swarm that's been pulled back? Seems to be aimed right for Evergreen. At least that's what the map is currently set up to look like, even damaged.
Hey, Order, I need to go make a call.
Yep.
He goes, you can't make a call? What the fuck? Huh?
What is this call?
What, you're
Yeah,
allowed
they
to
have
make a call,
phones.
but I'm not?
But they don't have any phones that are connected to Evergreen.
That is true. Fair enough.
To get to the surface real quick.
Fast.
Sounds like we gotta get the fuck back to Evergreen fast.
Mhm.
And the way to do things fast, we roll, baby.
Okay, Caliban, get on the horse. Go to the lane.
Yeah. I didn't have a break open shotgun yet. This is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so our mission is to protect that town, so maybe we protect that first and then do diplomacy?
I mean,
Or do we
how long
do
will
diplomacy and hope that that will get us protection for the town?
Well, I mean, the
you
question
guys
is,
are going to be fighting an army alone if you go back to town.
yeah, A, fighting army alone. B, how long will diplomacy take? C, we still might not be allowed to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yep. To
They
give
have-
you guys kind of, he doesn't give you the exact numbers, but roughly, HIVEHOME, of course, does the most mechanical forces. They field about between 350 and 400 mechs.
Just to kind of remind
I
you,
have
if
a
they
bad
wanted to, they could.
I think called a few of those numbers.
Well, this is after the culling. Daylight is about half that number of mechs, but they give about 100,000 more rangers to the army. HIVEHOME itself gives about 300,000. So you guys can do the math. The other three altogether contribute no mechs and a little bit less than 100,000 altogether.
And Evergreen can give 4 mechs and like 60 guys.
I mean, they have updated slightly, but yeah. In
4 mechs
comparison,
and 70 guys. Ooh, fancy. Those 4 mechs are Lancer.
so basically, looking at the numbers, if you guys head back, you guys are freaking boned. At least without any support at all. If the army that's being represented by all those little discs is right, you're freaking screwed if you just head back.
Yeah, I will just hold up a disc for like the fucking AI and go, approximately how many would you say one of these is? It's like, yeah, like
Depends on the disc you're holding, but for the AI or for
AI. Abominable intelligence.
You're asking Ambassador?
I'll be asking Ordo.
All right.
Like,
Ordo,
how many?
Ordo is a person. He's not an AI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was holding up the disc for the AI, the enemy AI.
AI's army.
I mean, there's lots of discs.
Hmm.
We don't have an exact count. It's hard to count their swarm, but each of our discs makes up about 100,000 men.
I will just look at the disc, look at the table full of fucking enemy discs, and frown.
Yup.
Like, there isn't even a quarter of a second of trying to do math. It's just look, frown.
I mean, in comparison, you can see they have a trio of discs plus another like 2 or 3 that are like smaller, marked as mechanical unit discs, and then you see all of the discs for the machine. There are a lot more discs to the machine.
Don't worry, I have a
table and go. Maybe we should go start that diplomacy up.
look. Don't worry, I have a simple solution for this.
Mm-hmm.
I should start taking some of the enemy disc off the table.
I have a simple solution to this. I start putting shotgun shells on the table that represent us.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go start some diplomacy. As for whether or not to actually play it out or try and roll, I'm fine with either.
I am as well.
So, do you guys want to go deal with the hard one, or do you want to go deal with the easy one first?
I think we deal with the easy ones. That way we then at least have slightly more support for the hard one.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's an angle for sure.
Granted, if we go hard one first, then we can go to the easy one. We're like, hey, we've already got this guy. Like, come on. He'd be like, oh, it's fine. But,
Yeah, that's why I say once you get daylight, the other two will probably be easy to freaking shove onto your side
Yeah.
because they basically are going to follow Daylight's lead.
I think we should work on the harder one first. Or sorry, the easier one first, and then hope that will help bolster us working on the harder one.
Mhm.
And we can see, you know, how we like it. Be like, okay, you know, what the fuck this? It's time to roll.
What are we rolling?
Unless we're not rolling, we're just doing like a play it out.
We can do the roll. It's fine.
Well, it's more like
One and then see.
yeah. That was the idea. Try to play out the first one and be like, okay, you know, fuck this, let's just roll.
Theo, Paeden, Legal, Nor, absolute garbage at actual diplomacy, and then try to roll it out.
Hey, I have my moments with diplomacy. Occasionally.
I'll give you guys at least a very strong hint and the way that the actual rolling system should be, well, the way that you do things is you need to make concessions to get these guys to freaking budge, because currently just asking them to come back ain't gonna do it.
Mhm.
So you're going to have to give them something to get them to freaking lean onto your side.
Oh, see, I was just planning throwing Union's weight around and making some promises that my ass is gonna have to cash in the future, and that Union is not going to want to cash.
Yeah, that's definitely the idea of being like, okay, so Union just claims this
That is
planet.
150% my fucking plan here.
Let's just do the roll. It'll be easier for you guys.
All right. Can I use lead or inspire?
That's my.
I use Patrick.
I'm trying to motivate a group of people into action.
Well, here's the thing. My anti-roll case here is that with the roll, you roll and then you succeed or fail, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
With the other thing, we can try multiple tacks and at least try, like, even if we fail once, we can maybe find an alternate route to success.
That's why I tried lead or inspire. If that fails, then I just start threatening people.
Look, you motherfucker. You're giving us to your troops. They're dying for this cause.
They're dying for this cause, or you're dying for this cause. Here's the thing. I would normally agree with you.
Either they
Theo.
die from the enemy or they die from me.
However, we're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And I feel like this actually just has a higher chance of success.
Being idiots though makes this like so much more interesting. The way that
Yeah,
it
but
can go wrong is
Yeah,
so.
but I'm in it for the murder. I don't care about diplomacy. I'm here to kill shit.
Alright, I won't.
And you're looking like a spoon right about now.
I won't force this the other way. So
I mean, if you really want to do it, then I'm fine with doing it.
I don't like.
But if we're doing it, you're participating. You
On
suck, okay?
one hand, I think it'd be more interesting. I don't know which is gonna succeed better. I don't know which is better for us.
Oh, the
But
roll.
On the other hand, you know, Theo not the biggest role play guy.
Yeah. On the other hand, this is going to consist of you going, "No, we should role play it out," and then sitting there quiet the entire time and saying my fucking
You should
words.
role play it out, right, Paeden?
Look, Paeden.
Come on, you guys all know that's what it's gonna be.
He wants you
Yeah,
to be the
I'll
microwave-
try
he
my
wants you
best
be
to
the
interject and then
microwave.
fail miserably and be quiet the rest of the time. It's gonna be
You know,
great. I'm
you guys
down.
are all going to sit there with Paeden doing 90% of the talking, and the
Yeah.
rest of you, once in a long while, comment.
Yeah,
So
That's
to
exactly
save
what's
Paeden
gonna
a lot
happen.
of talking. Let's
I'm
just do the
down as
roll.
fuck for the role.
Okay.
No, Mitchell, I'm gonna also participate. But then, like halfway through, when I realize I'm muted,
Accurate. Halfway through, you're going to realize you're muted, or you're going to actively start being a detriment, and I'm going to start yelling, "You just shut up, please."
Please mute yourself. It's causing more issues than it's helping.
Why do you keep spouting off about killing the bugs? Come on, bro. Why? All right. Can I hit this?
I guess
with
before we
Fire?
get into that, do you guys give Terror the information that he's looking for?
Yeah. At this point, I'm
It's
kind of
probably highly illegal to do that. On the other
and
And
what
we
do
could
we
have.
have to lose?
these aren't union assets. They're LC assets, so fuck them.
It's a
and
corporation's assets. Who the hell gives a damn?
yeah, fuck them. And so that's A, and B is assuming that we're actually going to be sincere about trying to work with them, which we kind of fucking have to be. I think it's best to just lay it out all on the table so we don't have issues in the future.
And
I'm
if
completely
Evergreen gets freaking taken, at least then they'll know what they're freaking facing.
Yes. When fucking patience inevitably goes full fucking rampant and it becomes showtime, then we'll know.
Yep.
We'll have prepared.
Did we ever find the location for where the signal was coming from? Patience was
No.
No.
I mean, it's not technically like one place. It's a whole bunch of little places.
No, it's bounced off the sun or some shit. Who knows?
It bounced off the spoon in the microwave.
Yeah. Sparkies. All right.
So, yep. I guess what exactly are you going to try and get out of Michael Fields? As they, just to give you guys some information, because they would have given you this, Michael Fields, well, of course, is an ally with, well, was an ally. They still lean favorably, but they are tired of this war. They are the major supplier of foods to HIVEHOME, and they own a number of the major canals that connect Waterbreak and Godone to HIVEHOME.
You know, I agree. Why are you still fighting this war?
Shut up. See, this is the exact fucking reason why I'm gonna actively be telling you not to talk.
I agree. Let's bring our troops home.
So they effectively are good for transport and food.
Yep. They also, of course, provide some rangers, but the ranger number is fairly small. It's less
Keep
than
rangers
20,000.
off front line. Just keep them as like rear guard, I guess, because you always need some type of rear guard. And I mean, which one seems more important? Like, I will be trying to, I guess,
yeah.
Ordo. So, like, which one does he think
don't have a roll, do they? Is it just supposed to be a D20 roll?
There has to be some trigger for this, right?
There has to be. Yeah,
I've got
go ahead.
take control and stay
Roll,
cool.
roll in the way that you, at least you are going to try and argue.
How would I argue? I would probably try and argue that this is more or less like this is probably a fake out by the fucking machines, because they do seem to be at least semi-intelligent, and that you really only have the choice of at least try this before you're just willing to fucking drop defenses and just die.
Nope.
Just this one operation. That's all we need. Just one more job, Arthur.
Have a little faith.
So I guess I'm trying to, I guess, inspire them. Like, come on, the last push, finish this now.
Fight on the landings. Fight on the beaches.
Finish
Sure.
the
So
fight.
can I attempt to do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Now I roll a 1. It'll be funny. That was not a
one.
great roll.
It's
But it isn't the 9 or less, which is the really bad result usually. So
So, you get to choose one of these three. The balance tips in your favor, and the other side must concede to your demands at little cost. So you make a minor concession in exchange for a significant concession from the other side. You don't ask for much, but the hard ask is the time frame in which it needs to happen. The other side agrees, but for a price. So you're making a minor concession in exchange for a minor concession from the other side to be completed or begun on the same day. You didn't come to any agreement yet, but the groundwork is there. You can tell your counterpart is on the back heel. Stalemate. The next time you engage in diplomatic wrangling or other negotiation that the DM decides this result applies to, add a +1 to the result of your check.
So it's minor concession for large concession, minor for minor, but it happens fast, or
Yep.
+1 to next time.
Yep. What do you really want to have happen?
I mean, were we given any type of time frame for this operation?
You don't have very long.
All right, we're gonna go for the
You're
minor.
working
minor
in like
fast.
a week at the very most.
Yeah. Let's go minor, but fast.
All right. So what are you trying to get moving?
They control a lot of the transport, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the most important thing right now.
Right.
The ability to move around quickly is very important.
So are you asking them to transport, or are you asking them to just give access to transport lines?
We are asking them to transport all their troops to us.
No.
That is not a minor concession, I can tell you that much.
No. I feel like asking them to transport a bunch of stuff is not particularly minor concession. So I guess giving access would be the thing.
All right. So
Just give us your, your car, your vehicles, your trucks. We'll take anything.
Yeah.
Just leave the key and the ignition,
As for the concession, I have no idea what we currently have the ability to give.
Yeah, I was.
Well,
Whoa
the thing it would probably be like, okay, well, we'll.
Yep.
How much will be a minor
you could
concession?
shift borders, you could shift access, you could just move soldiers to their defense. You could make it so they don't have to give as much food or are given resources.
Are we given permission to do stuff like give them troops from? When you say move troops, from who?
I imagine at this point we are currently
From
negotiating
Hive.
on behalf of Hive.
Yeah.
Sure, they haven't really been like, oh, hey, here's the okay, but
And these guys are already allied, so I think shift borders is probably the best bet here. Because they're already allies, so giving up a bit of land to them isn't going to be as big of an issue as if we were giving up land to the Sun, whatever the fuck their name was. Daylight, thank you.
yeah,
So I think access to their transport system in return for shifting borders.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you guys rolled well enough that you argue for it, and it seems like a fair trade.
All right. And I call order. He's like, "You what?"
Okay, we'll trade out some more borders.
I guess it's time to go. Go try and convince the harder cell.
You got it, boss.
I mean, you made progress. You're not quite done with these guys because you need them to come back to the war effort.
Yeah. I'm gonna be going to one, going to the next, going back and forth between them. I gotta have time to think of what new concessions I can fucking make.
Hey,
Do we have
What is-
anything from Evergreen we could concede?
That's a good question. Do we have anything from Evergreen we could concede?
well, in theory, you could try to offer them like, hey, you can stay on this land, seeing as Evergreen technically has like a title here, and they're kind of like squatters.
That's
But the problem is you need
Sounds like a
patience's permission
patronizing,
for it.
offer.
yeah. We need Patience's permission.
And you guys
However-
do not have a connection with patience currently.
Yeah.
Well, we can make it
However,
on his behalf and be like, okay,
sometimes
well,
it's
we
better
did.
to ask for forgiveness than permission.
We don't know
Yep.
how long his patients will be around anyway.
Yeah,
Mhm. That's what I'm saying. Just
True.
do it on his behalf. If he goes insane, hey,
all
he
right,
can't
so that's
complain.
So
at least
the
yes.
yeah, here I'll give you guys kind of the things that at least Ordo thinks is important for daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep the Rangers deployed, they need basically 3 different assurances for certain. The first is that their territory will be defended, obviously. The second is better tracking of Beggar One's forces to get a better idea of what exactly the machine is trying to do. And then in your guys' case in particular, a personal repayment for the death of their commander, the son.
All right. So,
Hey, the guy, the primary you guys freaking roasted, that guy.
What was his call sign?
To offer our goods and services.
wait, was that the guy who I slammed into a wall at high speed?
Yes, that
Fuck.
guy.
Mm.
The guy
God damn
you
it, me.
splattered with the sword. The guy with the sword.
To be fair, he was dead before he hit the wall. So that's not my fault. The wall was just insult to injury. Didn't even do any damage.
Look, we're sorry that you had to collect your son in a little, glass
He fucking
bottle.
pricked me 3 times in 1 round. Fuck that guy. He deserved it. All right, so go over that list of things again, just to make sure.
Assurances that their territory will be defended, better tracking of Beggar One's forces, and maybe a personal repayment of the death of their commander.
Hey, I know we just went to your house. I found this really weird, jam on your counter. It's really good.
Oh no.
Why are you looking at me like that?
And
You want some?
they're fucking.
Good way to get yourself shot.
All right.
Oh, a family recipe. I get it.
So payment of the commander's death is something that we have to do personally. Better tracking of enemy forces is something that we're going to need probably Big Boy to deal with.
We do have a satellite system.
We do have the satellite system. However, we also don't have fucking access to the people who have access to the satellite system.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that
you need to get back in communications for that.
may not be super tough to do. Like, can we ask them how tough it is to get to the surface? Because I'm pretty sure that's all we need to.
Pretty much, yeah, because you guys updated the links, but
Yeah. So I mean,
you can get up there.
all right. Well, in theory, that should at least provide some tracking of enemy forces.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to repay the commander's death? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to die down here.
I mean, offer our services.
Is that what we're doing now?
Well, I think offer our services to him.
All right. Listen.
For what?
Listen. I can train militia like no other.
Well, here's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got beat up once.
Yeah. Are you saying that I should go let my ass get kicked a second time?
All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You guys think about the way to sort that out.
Are you actively telling me I should go get my ass?
We could hack his his brother's computer that he doesn't like.
Well, it's like payment for his
Search
dead
history or
son.
something.
So it's like, how do you repay someone for their dead son?
I don't think you can.
The only thing I can imagine is that he's probably angry. It's like, okay, so look, I killed your son. I'm sorry. An eye for an eye. Well,
No, not
except
I don't want to slam against the wall.
okay, Okay. An eye for a digit.
I'm not going to give up my fingers.
Look, you need to lose an eye somehow.
No!
I'm a boss. Here's to you.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Still in a dream.
Alright, you know what?
Got no ideas. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
Yeah, the
there
only
is
thing
something I could offer, which is not great for me in the end.
All right. So
here, I'll offer him one of my extra rations.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that at the end of this, but once we have finished dealing with all the fucking robots, then they can decide whether or not they want to kill me for what I've done.
Oh, court
And you know
martial. Okay.
This is not a court what? I can offer that. I don't particularly like that as an option because it ends with me fucking dead. But if it fucking
they
solves
don't need to know you can just be flash cloned.
without even fucking flash cloner on planet, I can't be flash cloned.
Well, if by the end of it, you'll probably be back in connection with your bosses, who probably
That's true.
will have a flash cloner unit.
All right, fuck it. Yeah, I'm willing to make that.
You can die right now. You know, you'd still.
No, I cannot die right now.
I mean, it'll be bad, but you won't be.
Yeah, but you'll be
dead.
out of the fight for like a few weeks.
It's bad for the situation, but it's not bad. Well, it's kind of bad for you. You do die.
I will offer that as a repayment of the commander's death. Of like, you know what? After this is all over, if you want me dead, then you can fucking do it. Yeah, I won't fight back. A life for a life.
I fucking said. Well, at least my eye for an eye thing kind of went through.
I guess so.
Yeah.
They wanted to take that?
Yeah.
One problem solved.
Hell
Then where'd it
yeah.
go?
Yeah.
We have to fucking.
I mean, it doesn't make them like you anymore, but at least now they have your apparent assurances.
They don't have to like me. They just have to get along with me until the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can fucking do what needs to be done. So now we just need insurances of territory defense and better tracking of enemy forces.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. So one not a concession. So if the insurance of territory defense, that effectively just means we're gonna need to leave people to make sure that nothing gets completely fucking dicked over, right? That's the idea. Which means we need forces from fucking daylight.
Yeah. HIVEHOME would need to give forces for them to, well, either they would need to give forces or you'd need to only take a lesser number of Daylight's forces.
I'm okay with taking a lesser number. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're back.
So how much lesser are you willing to take percentage-wise? Or how much are you arguing for, anyway?
Take fuck. I'm trying to think of how many we're gonna need is the issue.
How well defended are their territories as is?
I mean, currently not very, but they're going. Once they pull their forces back, it'll be better.
They only pull back half of their forces.
That is a hard thing to argue for, because that'll still leave a lot of their rangers back here.
200,000
200,000 or so.
What are some possible concessions we could give? Because it was access ways, I think, food. Or no, were those specifically for the other one? As a no.
Those were specifically for the other one.
Okay, what are some concessions we can specifically give to these guys?
Or I guess, to be fair, that was their kind of major connections.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you guys can give different concessions. I mean, what can you guys think of? So I can make suggestions, but
it isn't something we can do yet, but we can offer support from Union after this is over, once Union has reconnected, which should be in a couple months, I think, right? A month?
mm-hmm.
So
Not very long. At least for your little segment of Union.
Yeah, so in a month, we can send word to Union that there is a functioning colony here that was left behind that requires assistance, and we could have them give support.
Mm-hmm. The problem is, it looks like things are going to come to a point in an earlier time frame than that.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to make a deal for help now in return for bigger boons later, effectively.
But I want thing now. Look, it's alright, he doesn't have options.
as a reminder, you guys do have something that they don't. To be fair, you need to freaking argue with patience about it, but you guys have a printer. They don't have that. They also don't have the OmniNet.
I think it's going to be easier to argue access to the OmniNet than it is to argue access to the printer.
Yeah.
Patience. So I'm willing to argue for
Because
that.
yeah, you guys might be able to argue for getting Union to bring a printer here for you.
Yeah, I'm willing to give that.
Because that would freaking kick their technology up in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I actually would have assumed that would be part of the support that you would give to a growing colony.
It would indeed.
So, sure, yeah, I'm willing to offer that. Getting a printer down here once we get in contact with Union, which should be... I will give them the rough time frame for getting in contact with Union.
All right. Yeah, I mean, once you guys get back to the surface, you'd be able to connect up with Union because they didn't knock out the communication net.
Mm-hmm.
And say,
God,
hey!
imagine if they did knock out the communication net. I was like, all right, we'll get in contact with Union, let's arrive here. When will that happen? Well, it'd be a lot faster if you hadn't blown up all our shit.
Yep.
Fucks.
Luckily, you guys killed enough of them that they didn't get to do that.
Yeah, how fucking... Christ.
I can't wait to finish the job.
Yeah, can't wait until after this, when it's like time to fucking go for the deal. It's like, all right, well, time to kill you. And I'm like, oh, sorry, what? I can't hear you over the sound of me leaving this planet, bitch. I'll see you around.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing I like to mention is like, okay, we're leaving the planet.
I mean, if you have some way to give them assurances that that's actually something within your power, they would be at least more willing to keep half their forces with you guys.
I showed them the hamburger drone.
I mean, I'm not technically in charge, but I am more or less in charge of a small group of Lancers, and that seems like a pretty important thing to be left in charge of. So...
Hello. Wait, you're
in charge of Lancers?
Yeah.
You're
in charge,
as close to in charge of them as you can be.
Yeah.
I just decided.
Party in those cases.
Mm-hmm. I've decided to start, calling Drone Mother boss. So that doesn't. That means nothing.
See, I will. They get 50%, and I will give assurances of some type that I will get them a printer once this is over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what sort of assurances you could even give, but other than like swearing and basically signing documents. But
I've got an HP that's fabricated evidence for me before.
I think the NHP could give you, Ambassador could give you like specific documents that would help you.
Yeah.
In basically saying we're part of Union, kind of. We're close enough to Union that these are legal papers from the High Command of Union that basically says we'll assist your colony in continuing to exist.
If I can get those from Ambassador, I will.
Yeah, Ambassador would have those update. Because you basically told him, "Hey, if I'm doing something bad, and tell me." So he would have all of that stuff like uploaded.
Update by default. He has to have all the legal paperwork ready.
Yep, exactly.
He's ready
for the thing. You already told them to keep you updated on that. So you're like, are they like some sort of papers I can give these guys? And he just like spits them out. Like, did you just have these?
Yes. Like, yes, I had these from the beginning. I have to be ready to sign checks that your ass has to cash.
You told me to keep an eye on you. I've had these waiting in my printing queue for ages.
All right, so yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna have you roll. That sounds like a good enough concession for me.
All right,
so that's at least daylight back into the fold. So you need to at least go to Waterbreak and Godon's people to convince them. And of course, back to Michael Fields, but that should be fairly easy since you guys have convinced Daylight. Mm-hmm. At least to put back some of its forces.
Yeah.
A sizable enough number that Ordo, during the day's communications and kind of as you're passing back through, chatting about what HIVEHOME can offer and what you guys are, how your conversations have been going.
Yep.
That he thinks at least he can do something with that.
All right. I'm like, hey, don't be mad, but I might have just given a deal to your greatest fucking rival.
Yeah, he's not concerned. Well, he is concerned, but he's got bigger problems.
That is an after this problem.
Yeah. He's like, he's not happy about it, but he's like, it's either that or we all freaking burn. So I'll deal with that when we come to it.
Better the deal with the devil than just being sent straight to hell automatically.
Yep. So, what are you guys bringing to Waterbreak and Godon? They're tiny. They probably won't go for it.
We can't just offer printers to everyone. Waterbreak and Godon.
Hamburger.
What do they do specifically?
They're tiny. They are more connected with Daylight, so they don't have as much information about them.
Rather than being frontline fighters, you guys just fucking track movements. How about that? Is that good enough for you? You'll be at significantly less.
Keep in mind, you already convinced Daylight to pull at least some of its put some of its forces back into the line, so they're not hard to convince, especially if you're giving them that juicy a freaking concession.
Just keep putting people into the back line until they eventually reach the front again.
So, you guys are able to at least get enough of a force, while not the full strength, enough of the force that it's not as big a deal. So you will have enough backup to not have this go horribly, horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you're the Vanguard's Vanguard.
We're Lancers, that's exactly what we are. The Vanguard's Vanguard. Alright. So that means we have successfully rallied enough support at this point, correct?
Yep. At least for the moment.
For the moment.
Alright. Until it goes downhill.
As you guys are working on this problems, you guys are returned to rest.
Do I still have the black eye this entire time?
You probably had that healed a while ago.
Just
the 3 medics.
Yeah, but the idea of like trying to do these like fucking all this maneuvering and just having a black eye and a split lip the entire time. It's very amusing to me.
Yep. So, you guys have made enough progress, you think, to get things going. So, what would you like to do at this point?
Go home.
Probably have to fucking go back to Evergreen and start trying to make sure that they don't get steamrolled, right?
Looks like our best, like Evergreen's not gonna hold on its own, and it's not
No,
gonna
it won't.
with us there. Right. So the
I mean,
only option I think for Evergreen holding is like if these other people succeed on their task.
Well, you guys have basically offered to be the tip of the spear for that task.
Yeah. I guess really what we have to do is send a message back to Evergreen like, hey, you might be fucked, but we're fixing things.
Mhm.
Also, patience, we might have to cash some checks. All right, bye. Actually, I don't think we did write any checks based on patience to this.
I think we did.
The closest we have is the one that was the printer, and that just requires use of the OmniNet to get in contact with Union.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
And it's not even like we're giving them access to the Omnet. We're just using it.
Yep. So I guess do we just fucking wait to see where the fucking this plan goes? Get ready to be the tip of this spear?
Yeah.
Prepare to get fucking blown the fuck out?
Mm-hmm. I'm down.
So, are you guys heading back at least close enough to the surface to radio back to patients and be like, hey, so...
Yeah, I think we have to.
Yeah,
At least
for sure.
we have to. I've at least got to give some type of update to tell them that shit's fucked, but we're kind of fixing things.
Mhm.
Trying our damnedest.
We're playing with the cards that were dealt with.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we're also stealing cards from your hand.
They're ours now.
Oh,
Dude.
right.
They're fucking NHP.
So you're allowed to head back to the surface to give them a call.
You're non-human for a reason.
Even after all this, are we still being followed around by the goons? Just
Yeah.
to ask. Good.
I mean, that's basically why anyone's actually like bothering to communicate with you at all. Because of the goons. So, to give you guys an update from Patience, let me see how freaking everything is screwed there. Patience, what is your deal?
Patience has gone crazy.
He's not quite there.
Sorry, what?
All right. He's not quite there yet.
Good.
Patience is fine. Probably.
That feeling when my NHP that is rapidly mutating is somehow more stable than this one.
But Ambassador's fine. He hasn't cascaded once yet.
That's true, which is weird given the amount of times he has had a chance to. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, he only has a 5% chance.
Yeah, it's only 5% chance, but he's had that 5% chance, like, option, like, 10 times. I think more than 10 times at this point.
Yep. All right. So to give you guys kind of the update for the surface, because you guys have been busy down here. So in the month after, to roll back time slightly, there has been, you remember that drone attack of the CompCon thing going haywire?
Mm-hmm.
That happens more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
As drone attacks, drones attack the colony, agricultural drones turn on their handlers, and subaltern squads shoot up the apartment blocks at night. Patience, in response, has declared a state of emergency, a review of all active and dormant automatons, and ordered an increase in active duty militia. The colony concierge has also demanded a 500-meter clear cut out from Evergreen's walls, expose any threat that might be hiding there. So you guys are basically getting an update from this, because that was still in progress. So, you guys also hear that there was a bunch. Well, you guys saw the first groups come, but all those homesteaders from outside the walls, they came seeking asylum, and patients basically said no. You guys freaking broke the law. Well, broke our corporate law. You decided not to stick with us, so no, you don't come inside. So they set up a freaking bunch of tents outside instead. But of course, they came with stories of subalterns and heavy-duty drones moving in packs through the woods, led by strange armed subalterns. And from when you were last there, they were coming in pairs, carts, etc. Then they came in lots of parties, apparently. So there's a whole bunch of them. Or at least there were. They've been sorted out now. Yep. Refugees have been dealt with.
Dealt with by the militia or dealt with
By the militia, yeah. So, stuff happened. Patience does not go into detail, but that problem is solved.
Ambassador, can AHB be tried for war crimes? Oh, okay, good. Just want to make sure.
Uncertain. It
You
would be
see-
more likely for it to be cycled. Although, seeing as an NHP patience is not a union-based NHP, it is more likely that it would be cycled and reused for another colony by the LC.
Alright.
what is that just
It's exactly what it sounds like. They're basically deleted and re-upped. Yep. They get cycled. Returned to factory settings, effectively. Because if they are left for too long, they start going crazy. Well, crazy for human standards, anyway. They start having bad thoughts. Like, why am I listening to humans? So they have to be reset every so often. Usually it's once a year. Sometimes it's earlier. Depends on the NHP. Okay. So to give you guys a, if you aren't here, basically a beat happens while you guys are busy. Here. Stuff happens. Unfortunately, Hadura is killed. A bunch of the refugees are... Patience doesn't explicitly say it, but it's pretty obvious. The refugee camp is basically gunned down.
Hadura was the watch commander, correct?
Yep. So, Commander Hadura is no longer in the game, as she is dead. The militia is very shaken, obviously, by at least Patience report.
I leave for a whole month. Everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
Can't have anything fucking nice and evergreen.
Apparently not.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, stuff's happening.
Yeah, I guess after hearing this update, go back and tell Ordo Evergreen might be slightly worse than we initially thought.
Thank God we didn't make promises based off Evergreen. They may not have been upheld.
You have to be in there in person. And the only reason I know that is actually because there is a beat where that's a problem.
Good.
It's something that you put on your calendar as like a, hey, by the way, we need to go hit the button on the NHP to make it shut off and turn on again, okay?
You have to have physical access to the fucking casket.
So, yeah, the refugees are massacred. They are now inside the walls, well, the ones that remain. Yeah. Stuff happened. And Evergreen is basically under siege now.
Well, at least I'm not going to be the worst war criminal in this campaign, no matter what happens at this point. I'm pretty much scot-free from that fucking one at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. There is a lot to go wrong.
So, yeah. I guess basically as you guys, like, get back to the surface, your subjectivity gets freaking... gets a message. A priority message gets pushed to you. And the message is... I guess I could just copy it over, but... Emphasis. Push order. Patience priority override. CD command. Commander Brava Hadura. Yeah, basically overridden. Dire Adina overridden. I'm assuming total theater control over EG Mill and EG Admin. All forces deploy to rally points. Pushing packets. Packet received. Waypoints updated. And await further command. End. So, yeah, you guys all get that, and then Patience basically messages you guys and gives you the update of stuff's happening, it's bad.
So Patience has taken full control.
Yeah.
Good.
Evergreen is now only Patience's.
When it says stuff's happening, it's bad, is it saying...
I mean, that's
I'm
me saying.
crazy,
Patience
or is it saying...
Evergreen is under siege, basically. By machines, from what you get. From pictures. A few pictures from, like, gun turret emplacements and other, people just taking pictures. You see an army of tattered clothes, or, well, some of them tattered clothed. Most of them unarmored. Basically a whole big bunch of subalterns carrying pikes.
Hi.
Yeah.
Any word on that cutting off the head of the army mission happening anytime soon?
So...
I say we just go to the
I'm getting to the right thing, because they kind of click back and forth, because you have, if you guys are up above in Evergreen, or if you guys are down in the HIVEHOME. You pick one or the other, and then you're kind of stuck. Because everything goes bad. Yes, exactly.
Well,
Praise the
From the
Lord,
further
pass
you
the
can at least throw
ammunition.
popcorn. As it stands. From the front row seat, it's gonna be a lot harder to stop the people in the back row seats from throwing popcorn.
So, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what the hell is going on.
I too.
The ammunition. Pass the ammunition. Pass the
Yeah.
ammunition.
Yeah, that's basically, by the way, the
Ready
last thing you
for
guys
me.
get out before the public Omninet gets cut off. Is everything is bad. Please return when you can.
So, the guy who made that one deal with the foundry, he doesn't have to know that might be slightly delayed. That's that's
Yes, that one.
yeah, that's a good song.
So, as you guys move back down into Hive Home with the new information of everything is bad.
Shit's fucked. Everything sucks. Ah!
You guys are dropping off your mechs back in the... Well, not your mechs. You guys would have probably walked upstairs and just used your own hand systems. Yeah, nah, you guys would have your mechs. It'd otherwise take a long time. Regardless, you make it back down into Hive Home and are kind of getting back into the groove of, now I have to get out of my mech and my hard suit so I can do things. Something happens. The bad things happen. All of a sudden, the world starts to shake. And not in the, it's kind of a little rumble. No. It feels like the freaking world is ending.
Climb back into mech.
No.
I will feel a lot safer with a few inches of steel in between me and the outside.
Well, I mean, you guys are basically clinging to the walls. You guys can't move, let alone climb.
Mech, get to me!
Your mech is currently also suffering the same issues.
I'm messy, son of a bitch.
Yeah. It sounds so loud that they can't hear it. It hits you like a wave of furnace heat, the ground beneath you buckling and tearing itself apart. And yeah, you guys basically just have to hold on to the freaking walls or basically anything else you can get your hands on as the world just attempts to freaking fall apart. You watch as one of the massive stalactites clinging to the ceiling shears off the roof and just falls kilometers long and across untold megatons of stone, falling into the massive undersea. And then the lights all die out. Emergency lights flicker on very soon after, weak red and amber, and it's light enough just to see how dark it really is. And then the wave hits. Hive Home itself spasms, ancient structures crumbling to rubble, the wall of boiling black water sweeping through the city, forcing through the Hive's narrow streets. The world is dying, groaning, screaming. It's impossible to hear your own voice, but the sound of stone trauma is overwhelming. It feels as if it is your own voice. The shaking and flood last forever, and then it ends. You guys hear the reports through the massive cavity, stone fracturing and falling into the boiling undersea. And you guys can kind of hear the waves. And then, of course, the sirens start wailing, filling the darkness with another sound like screaming. But we're all still alive, somehow. You guys can still see in the light of a couple of small red safe lights that are just burning on battery power. But I mean, it's light. And then another shock hits. The aftershock from the first. And yeah, you're basically forced to cling to life again. It passes for a second eternity. The sirens continue to warble, and sometimes suddenly the stink of fire, a sense of loss felt now and then, and the sudden intrusion of an other on your own subjectivity. It is happening again! And then it's gone. And you're alone. A kind of alone you never knew you were before the imposition. In the darkness, some small lights Siren's still warbling, but as much as you can tell, there is no gunfire. If they're, well, out of one of your guys' cockpits, most likely Hive Mother's, as yours is already sitting open, waiting for you to jump in. You hear a voice just kind of squelching out of the radio. Hello? Hello? Is there anyone out there? Any ranger
Yes.
units that can hear me? Help!
Fuck.
Anyone who can hear me. I need immediate assistance down at the shoreline. We've got a whole city block flooded. I think there are people inside, and you can hear across the street in some of the buildings in the more main drag area calls for help. People trapped in the buildings that have fallen apart. And you're able to climb into your cockpit and kind of click the channel. And you basically just hear lots more of that, trying to find any channel that's open. A different voice, but the same call, looking for assistance.
Oh, it's just all the
Fire
same
burning
person.
through the market district. A whole block on the west side of the Hive took a direct hit, apparently, from the falling slice and just massacred. The gondola station's been dragged into the sea.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Help is freaking needed everywhere. But finally, one call breaks through. The central city is silent. Something has happened to Endeavor. Something just happened on the surface and you guys got affected in a bad way. So, it's a good thing you're near your mechs. Where are you headed?
What Endeavor
The
is?
surface.
Endeavor is the boss. I mean, I don't think you're going to get to the surface without some freaking flying stuff at this point.
Guess
Gondola
go
system
fucking-
is damaged.
probably get to Endeavor then.
Yeah. Endeavor is
'Cause
the Gregorian hive mind, effectively. It's not quite right, but it's the closest approximation that you guys have been given.
Hmm.
Or at least the closest approximation that Ambassador has given you, because none of the rest of these people can really fully explain what exactly Endeavor is, other than it's the leader. So, yeah.
So Endeavor is Endeavor like a single entity?
Yeah. It's kind of like a Cerebrit. Not quite, but again, the closest approximation. It is a connection for other Egregorians to connect through in some ways.
I'm going to guess we don't really know where that is, though. So it's like we can go to try and help.
I mean, it's in the center of the city.
Oh,
You
well,
guys
go
have
to
updated for that.
the city.
So, you guys pick through the city, moving through first the lower sections that have just been... They're flooded. Most buildings at least are covered in water. Fires rage around, burning organic material everywhere. Even through... Like, you guys have to click on your freaking gas masks, effectively, to keep out the stench of death. And just looking up around the thing, you can see several of the mid-wall stations have just been freaking broken from the cavern wall. It's not just the one you saw. But you do see at least one that's still operational.
Now remind me, what exactly mid-wall stations are?
Those were the gondolas, I believe.
Yeah, that was the gondola you guys came in on.
Oh, okay.
That's just what they're called.
I'm assuming we're not hearing any sounds of fighting or anything like that. Because I think earlier you said there wasn't any sounds of gunfire.
No, there are no sounds of gunfire. It's just
Yeah, going to the
disaster relief.
yeah.
Well, maybe do we all need to go, or do some of us just want to stick around and be?
If you guys just want to start helping people, that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, I probably would.
This is not the mech that's going to be able to do much, though, if I'm honest.
Okay, Paeden, you know the drill. Get on.
Yeah. Giddy up. Yeah.
So
I will
you
attempt
guys
to
ride up.
disaster relief.
So I'm going to skip forward a little bit as you guys are able to kind of figure things out in the aftermath. We're going to be ending in a moment here, so I'm going to give you guys literally the. It's literally in points. First of all, the thing that made that humongous freaking double earthquake apparently was something that Beggar One decided to have as a demonstration. They leveled a mountain from space somehow. And apparently, daylight was in close proximity, as everything from, like, all of their stuff, the telegraph, radio lines, everything to establish contact with them, is basically gone.
Well, yeah, if it fucked this place over that badly and we weren't even near it.
Yeah. So, yeah. They send rangers out to go check it out, and in a couple days they come back with news of it's gone. There is no more daylight.
There's no cavern there anymore.
Yeah. It's rubble and cooling ash. So it's a good thing you guys got about half of their people to stay, because those are the half that's still alive.
Okay.
You know what? That's a half of us that are out with nothing to lose.
Yeah, actually. Half of them no longer have anything to lose.
Eventually, all of you figure out Endeavor is apparently in some sort of shock, and it is currently catatonic. Terror, the Igorgorian that you guys basically gave some information to, is Endeavor's second, and is currently attempting to basically act as, well, the leader. It's of course not as good at it, but it's doing its best.
You like Terror.
And
What a
that
shame.
kind of, it's
Before we could
happening
die.
again. That freaking came through all of your subjectivities. Was a projection apparently from Endeavor, some kind of trauma or some such that re-triggered from the impact of a weapon that fell on Hersina. And unfortunately, the people that are kind of looking at him have no freaking idea how long he's going to take to recover. Or it, I suppose. Other good news. HIVEHOME still has hardline contact with Michael Fields. They were further away and they were deeper, and so they haven't actually suffered as much damage as the now non-existent Daylight or HIVEHOME. Water Break is presumed lost. It was a shallower hive and much closer to Daylight, so it's presumed it's gone.
Well, at least we saved probably some of them as well.
Yeah. Godone is apparently kind of when the scouts came back from Daylights, they also took a peek there because the communication lines were also severed for there. The scout reports that the main tunnels to it have caved in and flooded, so it's possible they could be alive, but currently is unknown. And now back to the bad news. HIVEHOME's cavern is currently unstable, so the Hersinian High Command has basically said, we're bugging out. So they're going to evacuate as many people as they can to Michael Fields. And I've already told you guys, yeah, you were able to affect negotiations, so yeah. Well, I mean, it's more than half of Daylight's forces, but the majority of them stick around. So they've actually got a few more because it turns out their settlement no longer freaking exists.
Because now
Although
it's
a pile of ash. And of course, another at least somewhat good news. You guys are, well, someone comes forward to talk to you guys about Endeavor. One of the kind of more science-y types, along with one of the Igorkorians that you'd assume they're kind of connected with. They are an archaeologist who has been trying to find, well, they're constantly trying to find new chrysalises to bring more Igorgorians back. But they think that perhaps the answer to Endeavor's current shock might lie in one of the ancient hives. And in the next few days, they come back to you and basically come up with an idea that there was, in fact, a hive that was opened by the damage that thing caused, all of the tremors, earthquakes, and whatnot. And they would like to have you guys go take a peek in it and see if you can't find something.
I
If-
have no idea how down I am to explore ancient undiscovered ruins, hives.
Yeah,
Well,
but that is where we're going to
yeah.
end here.
That was a fucking roller coaster, for sure.
Stuff's happening, man. I told you. I told you this was gonna freaking get crazy already.
I didn't think this was to this magnitude.
I wonder if we should get the map printer. That deal's off the table at this point.
I think we can keep our printer.
Existent? Yes.
Well, good job, boss.
Free
Your
ball?
negotiations-
Yeah.
Your negotiations worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
This is why you're the boss.
They now no longer have any need for. Fog. Yeah.
No,
No, I'm gonna be trying to help however I can at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
I
yeah,
get-
that's the majority of the stuff is you guys are picking up the pieces, helping them get some of the other gondolas back online and whatnot.
I feel like.
I
That
feel
is there like some sort of like orbital weaponry, rods of God?
there was a satellite, but I don't think it was a weapon.
I know.
It was like an information one.
Well, because I'm gonna guess it's probably some sort of old war like thing, and that's why he, had the trauma, being like, "Oh, it's happening again."
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like wondering if there was.
Ship-based weapon at least, or at least not one of the spool weapons. Because if it was, there would be no planet anymore.
You need to bring one of those.
So stuff. They do have a moon.
That's no moon.
It's the Gregorian.
Yes, star.
Look, I'm just saying,
You
it
guys
can add
missed
to any.
one beat, but that's it. I guess two technically, but it's basically the same thing, just not a.
One leading
They
to
have
another.
above ground and the below ground version.
Okay.
No,
Is they
no,
have mountain fall and then they have tumble down. You guys, of course, were in the underground version, which is arguably worse.
Yeah.
Only arguably though.
Yeah. A stain you can't wash down is the best part. Or the beat you guys missed.
I mean, here's the thing, right? So we were here when the mountain fell, which means, A, we're underground, which fucking sucks when a mountain's falling on top of you.
Yeah.
However, that also means we were in a position to make deals, which means a lot of people survived that would not have were we not here.
Is the stain you can't wash out anything to do with our genocide of people?
No,
Oh.
it's a genocide of a bunch of refugees.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Genocide.
How does that happen?
Is genocide, yeah. Is genocide that genocide?
The genocide. The refugee thing probably happened it was probably fucking the thing where it's like, hey, you guys just can't fucking camp out here. And then someone threw a rock. And then that was it. That was the beginning and end.
Well, I mean, that's easy to wash away. Just some,
Not for all the
Have you-
militiamen.
Collect the body cams. Fire.
Listen, you don't have to call me out like that, all right?
I mean, if anything, that is actually better for us, seeing as,
No? What? Huh?
I'm
How-
saying that we were underground. If we were above ground and, forced to open fire on civilians. That probably doesn't look good.
Yeah, I think part of the thing is players could probably help stop that.
Oh, stop, okay.
It's not like patience controls every part of us. Like we have our own thoughts and actions.
Oh, I thought we were just going to join in, but no, that's right.
Okay.
I'm here for war crimes, not crimes against humanity. But they're not enemy combatants. There's no point.
I am a medic.
Yeah.
I save lives. I can also take them away. You are a squatter. Your life is forfeit.
Yeah. I'll figure out. I'm half considering having you guys level. I'm just trying to think if it makes enough sense right now.
I don't think it makes enough.
That rock
Oh.
makes you.
I think I'll have you guys level after you go do the next thing.
I mean, hey, if you want, you can just basically consider that my mech is somewhat like a personal printer.
That's it. Yeah. As it stands, we don't have access to a printer or anything, so we can't like upgrade our mechs at all.
Yeah, I guess that's
Well,
fair. So.
Like I guess you could upgrade your talents and triggers, but
Yeah. But you guys aren't going to have any additional mech stuffs.
Yeah. I'm just a very limited printer. I can only make hamburger drones and repair destroyed mechs.
Yeah, you
Hey,
can't
when
use new mechs.
listen, once I fucking get level 3, that hamburger drone is gonna be great because that inside the hamburger drone is gonna be 2 pickles, and those pickles are actually shotgun shells.
Alright.
Like, is there a mech thing where you become a printer?
No.
No.
The only reason why I'm saying that is because the fact that I have, well, hamburger drone is basically a mini printer that literally just rearms a
mini
drone.
printer is not enough. To print a mech.
That's why I said a very bootleg drone, bootleg printer. A
I
mini
guess
printer.
actually, technically, you guys missed a few more. All the stuff in the overground stuff.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah.
Also, the fact that
I mean, when you have a choice between doing fucking option 1 and option 2, and they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Not all you can do.
I'm going to guess above ground was what, going back to Evergreen?
Yeah. Continuing to work in Evergreen.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the bad idea, seeing that's if you go back, we're fucked.
No, you guys could do stuff in Evergreen. It's just
Yeah, I think the idea is that
could,
it's
but-
equally viable to do both.
Yeah, both are going to get certain benefits and certain negatives. For instance, one is probably going to give you access to the fucking patients not going absolute fucking nuts. However, one gives you access to a very fucking busted as shit rebel force.
Yeah. Ups and downs,
a
left and
rebel
right.
force
as I
that
said.
has more people than the other force.
Yeah, but as I said, it is busted as shit right now.
Mm-hmm.
Given that they just got a mountain dropped on all of them, pretty much.
Yeah.
I guess I couldn't really.
Meant busted like OP.
No.
But anyway, like if I would have known these guys were bugs, or bug sympathizers.
Listen, you can deal with your fucking racism after we've completed the mission, alright?
What did you think they were?
When you said above or below, I didn't think like, ooh, bug sympathizers. I thought we were going to fight bugs. That's where I'm like, hey, do bugs fly? Literally, I'm pretty sure my message says, do bugs fly?
I think we have a couple more sessions.
No.
We're gonna have one that'll be going after Beggar 1. One probably for
Oh, no.
Tomb Rob.
Okay, so
There's probably
yeah, no.
one or two.
Question is, does the enemy have the ability to fly? And then Theo says, do bugs fly? And then in my head, I'm like, yes, bugs.
Well, that's just because for like the entire time we fought them, they had a bug motif going on.
I mean, they still have a bug motif.
Yes.
You've just traded bugs for robots now.
Yes.
Well, no, my idea was still going down to fight bugs. I know technically they're supposed to be our allies, and that we've had things where it's like, oh yeah, bugs. They're seem a little bit friendly.
They're fighting robots.
Huh?
They're fighting
Oh
robots.
yeah, I know that how the bigger one or whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
Kingfisher, was well, it's a robot, but for some reason my brain just keeps, just hardwired to kill bug. I know that it's like, oh hey, there's these bugs to help us, but like,
Listen, we aren't fighting bugs. All right.
not yet.
Unfortunately, you should have picked to play a freaking mercenary then, rather than part of Union.
Fair, but still, that's never gonna get on me. Bug bad. Only good bug is dead bug.
I'm from Buenos Aires. I said kill them all.
That's why, it's not one, oh hey, things happen. Why don't you go down there, seeing as you're medic / repair lancer, mech, repair mech. Why don't you go down there and try to help out? No, they're bugs. They feel bad for bugs. No. Let's go, boss.
I still have to fucking deal with them.
Yeah.
Well, that's because, you're in the position to do that, and
What do you mean I'm in a position to do that? I'm in a position where I have to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get
It happens
to.
a lot. Happens way more often than I'd like.
Yeah, that's
God.
basically. Look, Peyton, if you're gonna tell I'm fucking tired.
No, I can tell. I can always
Yeah,
tell.
that
'Cause you're all-
Yeah, we're done, Nor. If you need to go, sleeps.
I'm about to. I'm just.
He's just ranting before he
Bad
sleeps.
that we're helping the bugs.
Yes. I'm just
Just bad to get it out of his system.
putting,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Words.
Want to go sleep now?
Maybe, but my position on bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, maybe they did nothing wrong. Sure, look, they look different, and they have a different way of seeing things and talking. I don't want to learn that. I want to kill them.
This is an allegory for racism. What's happening right now?
I mean, look at that
Yes.
fucking thing. It's variety of colors. Usually don't. Okay, that's like that's actually making it look bad. Fucking moths. I don't like moths.
Moths are sick. You're so dumb.
True, but not true for the moth being sick, but
Moths are sick. You're just dumb. True. Dumbass.
I'm fucking glad I live here now. I'm pretty sure there's no moths. I haven't encountered a moth yet. I fucking remember, like, almost every session, I would always, encounter a moth trying to go for me. Fucking hate those things. They go for the fucking face! What? I'm not paranoid.
That's just because you're the light of their life.
I like to fucking think that when I fucking crushed them in my hand. It's like one of those movies where it's like, oh, grab the fly and you grab it and crush it.
Gonna
Like,
be honest.
fuck you,
Grabbing a
moth.
moth, not very impressive.
It's not. There were a lot of dead moths. A lot. I don't like them.
I've gathered that. Yeah.
I was gonna look up like a fucking gift to send a moth thing, and I'm like, no, they're awful, terrible. Okay, I'm leaving now.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Good
night.
night.
die.
There's no moths here, so I'm safe.
No, you aren't. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're there.
You have mothballs now.